So what we're going to talk about today, local SEO, building a marketing strategy. And so yes, skip ahead. Yep, we're talking about local SEO. So a few things before we dive in. Local SEO is for businesses that serve a local community. Types of businesses that benefit from local SEO could include coffee shops, hair salons, plumbers, HVAC companies, restaurants, basically any local business that someone could be searching for. And also certain individuals such as attorneys, insurance agents, real estate brokers are also eligible and are perfect for local SEO. Website and technical components still matter. They're still applicable. Things like site speed, title tags, schema markup, all of those things need to be implemented, tested, and they do have an effect on a local search. At SEO Rocket, we did a webinar back in August of last year on technical SEO. One of our colleagues did that, and like I said, that still applies for local SEO. If you've got time, I highly recommend you go to our website, seorocket.com/webinars, find the one from August with Tom Veltri, and check that out because there's lots of great information in that webinar. Many aspects of local SEO have remained the same over the last few years. But however, some local ranking factors have changed, and what that's done is created new priorities for local businesses. So today what we're going to do is take a look at 5 things that we look at when we're determining a local SEO plan. And so the first thing that we look at is Google My Business. And so I want to ask you guys we're going to put up the first poll question and ask everyone, have you claimed your Google My Business listing? I figured I'd make the first question easy for you, just a simple yes or no here. Just kind of wanted to gauge the room, so to speak, and see whether we have lots of people who have claimed theirs, lots of people who haven't, or if it's a good mix. See if this kind of falls in line with the data from studies that we'll talk about in just a quick second. So with Google My Business, many times when people search for information about a local business, they want basic things like a phone number, address, operating hours. And Google My Business has become the source for local business information. While there are lots of other places that you can get that info, most of the time it's coming from Google. No big surprise here, Google tops the charts for search engine market share. 86% of all desktop searches and a whopping 95% of mobile searches use Google. And so when we're doing our search engine optimization for a client, Google is what we focus on. Yes, there are other search engines out there. There's Bing, there's DuckDuckGo, there's others, but Google is the straw that stirs the drink, and that's what we focus our efforts on. 3 of the top ranking factors for Google's local pack are the searcher's proximity to the business, the content within the listing, and reviews. 2 of these 3 things you've got some measure of control over. And so that's good if your business doesn't appear in the local pack, because you can make some changes to your listing to try and improve your ranking. And so you may be asking yourself, well, what is this local pack that you keep talking about? Well, here is an example of Google's local pack. Google serves this up when it determines that the search query is that someone is looking for a local or regional business or attraction, So what I'm showing you here, this is an example of what showed up for a search of pizza near me. And I live in the on the Kernersville side of Winston-Salem, so that's where it pulled from. That was close to me. The local pack occupies the prime real estate on a search results page. Usually it's right at the top, even above paid ads. And the local pack will usually show 2 or 3 locations. And sometimes there's even a paid ad within the local pack. So you may see 4 and one of those is a paid ad, or you may see 3 and one of those is a paid ad. In this instance, all 3 of these are the organic local results that show up in the local pack. And this is chock full of information. It shows the location of the map with a red pin. It shows reviews. You see how many and the average rating, the category of the business, hours of operation, and product photos. And that's, if any have been uploaded by the business or even by customers. When people come to a restaurant or come to a coffee shop and take pictures of their food or their drink, sometimes they'll upload those, and those can show up here in the local pack. Also with restaurants, there are special COVID-19 attributes that can be shown. If the location offers dine-in, takeout, delivery, contactless delivery, curbside pickup, those are all options that are available with certain categories, but especially restaurants within Google My Business. For some queries, it'll also give you buttons that allow you to call the business or visit their website. And all of this information can be entered through the Google My Business dashboard. And this is an example. This is what it would look like. This is what the admin side of a Google My Business listing looks like. Once you claim your listing, then you can go in and start updating information about your business. Everything from your street address, hours of operation, special days that you're going to be closed, your phone numbers, your website, and even, for certain types of businesses, links to make an appointment, services you offer. If you're a restaurant, you can put a menu, link to a service where you can promote and post your menu, put in a detailed business description, and you can add photos, logos, put in your opening date. All of that information you can access from the back end of Google My Business. So now that we've talked a little bit about Google My Business, what do I look for when I see a business? What should businesses do regarding their listings? Is the business claimed? That's one of the first things I'll look at. Is the NAP correct? That's the name, address, phone number. So you want to make sure that that's correct. Is the best category available for that business the one that's selected as the primary category? Google will let you choose multiple categories. So if you are a heating and air and plumbing company, it will let you select air conditioner repair, heating contractor, HVAC, plumber. It will let you select all of those, but you have to choose one as a primary category. So you want to make sure that the one that is most applicable for your business is the one that you select as your primary, and then you can have the others listed as other categories. Are you using good use of keywords in your business description? That section is where you really can tell the story about your business. You've got 750 characters, I believe, is the limit right now. So you've got room to put a good paragraph or 2 in there about your business, telling people, who you are, what you do, why you're great at what you do, and why, give them enough information that will hopefully move them to click through to your website, to give you a call, make an appointment, whatever that conversion is that you are wanting to get. What's a win for your business, whether it's a call, a click through, make an appointment, you know, having a good, well-written business description helps with that a lot. And the other thing is good, clear photos. You know, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and photos go a long way to that. And so good pictures of the exterior of your business, your signage if you have it, your products if you're you know, a retailer selling things, the interior of your business, your staff, all of those things are just things that you can do to help promote your business. And you know, and this is all free. Google doesn't charge anything for any of this. So you know, if you have not gone in and done these things, or if there's something that you haven't looked at in a while, you haven't addressed in a while, I would highly recommend that you go back in and make sure that, you know, your information is correct, categories are accurate, your business description looks good, you got lots of good updated photos, you know, so that somebody doesn't see that the last photo was 2 or 3 years ago. The second thing that we look at is local citations. And what these are other third-party sites that have your business information, your NAP. And while third-party citations aren't as much of a ranking factor as they used to be, they're still important for local search. Citations that are well-structured, consistently display your correct name, address, and phone number, or NAP, is very helpful with local SEO and local search. But this is not a one and done kind of thing. It's something that as a local business, you need to stay on top of, because information on these sites changes regularly. The information of your business, it gets sliced, diced, shared with other directories. And also with a lot of sites, users can submit changes that may not be accurate and still get accepted and published. You know, being a verified owner isn't always considered the most authoritative source with certain directories. And so what I wanted to show you here, this graphic can hopefully kind of illustrate a little bit as to, you know, where the information, your business information comes from, how it gets pushed out, where it goes. And it looks really confusing with all of the lines, and there's dotted lines and dashed lines. But your information, you know, the core search engines down at the bottom, Google, Bing, and it also has Apple, and that's really more for Apple Maps, for their map app that they have for the iOS and for Apple users. But the information that goes to those search engines comes from all of these other places, the primary data aggregators, which are the 4 main ones that then push out your information. But then all these other sites in the ecosystem, you know, from uLocal to HotFrog to ZipLocal, DexKnows, Yellowbook, all of those other sites, they get your information, but they also, you know, they may get, it's almost like a Frankenstein kind of effect. They may get a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and they kind of put it together and display what they want to display. And so, sometimes it's not always accurate. One of the things that we do and we offer as a service is we have an agency data feed that we use as part of our local SEO service. And what this does is it continuously pushes correct, consistent information to the sources. And in addition to helping provide consistent data, it helps increase authority and build confidence with searchers that they've found what they're looking for. So as you can imagine, manually updating your info at even half of these sites would really take a long time. So consider this, when looking at your citation, look at a few things. Is the information correct and consistent? We've talked a little bit about that. If there are old listings, or if there's old NAP info, say if your business has moved, that's going to need to be addressed, because otherwise people, you know, like I said, while many people get their information from Google, it's not the only place. And so if your old address still shows up on Yellow Book or Yellow Pages or Dex Knows, and somebody uses that to try to get directions to your business, they could end up at the wrong place. And so you don't want that to happen. Is your business in the well-known directory? So, like we talked about, Yellow Pages, Super Pages, Manta, but also other sites like Yelp, Facebook. You may think that your business, I don't need to be on Facebook. My business doesn't, that's not really my audience. Well, while that may be true, Facebook is also one of the biggest directory sites because a business can put their information in there, the name, address, phone number. They do, they used to do reviews, they do recommendations now. And so that Facebook carries a lot of weight as far as that goes. And so, making sure that your business is in those well-known directories. And if your business is in any kind of niche directories or industry directories for your industry. So, if you're a restaurant or a coffee shop, are you on Urban Spoon or Open Table? If you run a bed and breakfast, are you on TripAdvisor? If you're, in a tourist attraction, are you on TripAdvisor? Those are the kind of things that, some people don't think about. And so you want to check and make sure that, you have your information there and that it's correct and consistent. So the third thing we're going to talk about is content. Most people overlook content as part of their digital marketing strategy. And when we're talking about content here, we're talking about, on site, but we're also talking about on your local listing. So within your Google My Business. Content can be more than just words. It can be images, videos, anything that you can create to promote yourself on your website, on your listing. And a lot of people just overlook that. And whether you've got 1 location or 10 locations, a good content plan is essential for results with local search. Again, I'm gonna plug our webinar page again. We just had one last month called Master Your Content Marketing and Creation. We did, and if you go to SEOrocket.com/webinars, you can watch the video from last month's webinar. And we went into content in a lot more detail there. And so again, if you've got some time, I highly recommend checking it out. And you learn some great information about how you can increase and improve your content marketing for your website and for your business. So we'll talk for a minute here about how content relates to local search. So here's another local pack. This one is for a local search of hair salons in Kernersville. So right here in between Greensboro and Winston. Content that's on your Google My Business profile, as well as on your Contact Us and your location page, help with getting visibility here. Below that, below the local pack, are the organic search results. Content that's published regularly, like blogs, would appear in these organic listings here rather than in the local pack. Sometimes content from Google Posts appears with the business information in the local pack. Doesn't happen all that often, but it does happen. So some things to consider. If you're a business with multiple service areas, if you're an electrician or a plumber or most any other home service provider, it's likely that your business serves multiple areas or cities or towns, or perhaps you're a little bit bigger and you serve maybe the Triangle and also the Triad, and then also the Charlotte area. So if that's the case, it's best to have content that reflects your presence in those areas, but without being spammy. Is there content for customers at each level of the marketing funnel? So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. Ideally, your plan should include creating content for people at all levels of your marketing funnel. from those who are just learning about you and about what you do, to existing customers and those who are ready to buy. You should be creating content that would be interesting to your audience. By doing this, it allows you to show others your expertise and authority on the subject. And it also turns your website from a static digital brochure to a sales tool that works for your business at all hours. And I'm going to be really real here for just a second. It takes work and commitment, not going to lie. This is not something that you can kind of just halfway do it. You've got to commit to it. The ones who take this approach and do it well will benefit down the line. Those who don't, won't. It really is that simple. And we get asked a lot, how big or how much or how often or how long, how much content, how often should I publish content, how long should a blog post be? And everyone's needs are unique. So what you should do is consider how regularly you can produce and promote a quality piece of unique content on a specific topic. And so by quality, what we mean is something interesting or useful that you can share with your customer base related to your industry that addresses it better than your competition's content. But you also need a holistic approach. You can't ignore the other important engagement signals, such as responding to customer reviews, posting, and keeping your Google My Business data accurate. Also, things that you should keep in mind as it relates to content. Is your business a single location? Do you have just one location? Do you have multi-locations? Are you like a restaurant with 5 or 6 different locations in different towns or cities? Or are you a service area business? That's what SAB stands for, like a plumber or an electrician or those home service businesses. Each of those kind of will have a little different approach as it relates to creating content. Again, content for each level of the marketing funnel, that's really key. Are you posting local content? So if your business was featured on a local newscast, linking to their website with the video, post a quick little blog post with a link to their video, or even better, if you can embed it on your page so they don't have to leave your site to go look at it. And are you using Google Posts? This is a fairly new product from Google within the last 18 months to 2 years. And I'm going to show you an example of that and how it can really help when it comes to brand searches. Google loves when you use their products, and Google Posts is no exception. So this is an example of a local business. And if you see, I had to break it up into 2 graphics because the knowledge panel is so long. The knowledge panel is what usually appears on the right-hand side of the screen when you do a brand search, or like if you search for a celebrity, they'll have one with all of their information, or if you search for a business. And so for a business, this is what the knowledge panel looks like, and a lot of information here. Most of it comes from your Google My Business listing, the photos, the map, the reviews, the phone number and address. But there in the second graphic on the right, you see Dixon Custom Cabinetry on Google. And there are the Google posts. And it's got the little arrow that you can swipe through and look at more than just the 2 that show up there. And if you click on Learn More, you can see more. And Google Posts allows you to post pictures and information. It allows you to post offers, so you can have a special offer for somebody that comes through from looking at Google Posts. And it's really just another great free way to promote your business with Google. So if you're a single location business, some tips: make sure your content, your correct NAP. Make sure it's on your website, on your contact page, and in your footer. Name, address, and phone number, make sure it's correct, consistent. If you've got driving directions, have them written out, so for businesses coming from the east, from the west, or from the north and south, and using local landmarks in these written driving directions, those are signals that tell Google, yes, you're a local business. You're located in Kernersville or in Archdale or in Greensboro, and that it just is those extra signals that tells Google that you're not trying to game the system, that you're legit. And then a little bit of the technical SEO, making sure that your page titles, images are optimized, because sometimes, especially if you're a restaurant or maybe you're a caterer or a bakery, images, or like in the case of the cabinet maker that we showed before, the images of your products, some people may be searching for those more so than directions or whatever. They may want to look at your cakes or your pies. And so by having your page titles and your images optimized with, good content, that helps as well. So if you're a multi-location business, we look for the same things as in a single location business, but the big thing you want to make sure you have is that there is a page on your site for each location. So if you've got, 3 locations in Greensboro, one on Battleground Avenue, one on Elm Eugene, and one on Wendover Avenue, then you should have a page on each site for each of those 3 locations with the information, the address, the phone number, and it should be unique. The issue that a lot of people run up against is having the pages be identical except for the address and phone number. And you can have unique content on those location pages without just doing a copy and paste. And again, the driving directions help. That's a big way to help tell Google that you're local and that that your pages are not all the same. So number 4, we're going to talk real quick about link building. This is all about your reputation as it relates to search engines. A link to your site is considered a vote of confidence by search engines, and it conveys a sense of authority about the topic that is linked to. The more links to your content, the more Google sees your site as an authoritative source for that content. And the reputation of the sites that link to yours affects how much value Google assigns to that link. If you've got a bunch of spammy sites that link to your site, Google knows that they're spammy sites, and they're not going to treat those links with as much, they don't carry as much weight as if you were getting links from news sites or industry sites or education sites, sites at .edu, .gov, and those are difficult to get sometimes, but they do carry more weight and more authority. But more is not always better. So think of links like a job reference. The quality of that reference carries weight. Link building is another piece of the plan that a lot of people don't spend much time on. And as an agency, this is one of the toughest things for us, because link building really requires the business reaching out and asking, because you as the business owner or you as the manager of the business carry more weight and more likely to be listened to by another company and another business than me saying, hi, I'm Zane Tuck and I'm calling on behalf of ABC business. You working for the company carries more weight, and they're more likely to link to your site than they are if an agency asks for them. But this is another piece of the plan that a lot of people just don't spend much time on. It usually requires the most effort from business owners, which is why businesses don't really get into link building. Reciprocal links. This is where, I link to you and you link to me. What that does is that just waters down the value of the link. Google doesn't know whether there's real value in it. And you really don't want to get into link building schemes or paying for, seeing something on a site like Fiverr that says, I can get you 50 links to your site, for $5 or whatever. You really don't want to get into that, because they're not going to be good quality links. And, 15, 20 years ago, that was how you did things. That was how you got your site popular, was, just getting links from anyone and everyone. And things have evolved, and you just don't do that anymore. Links need to be more than just reciprocal links, especially not links from businesses or sites that are way off your subject matter. So what are the characteristics of good links? The domain authority of the link sources. Domain authority is a search engine ranking score that predicts a website's ability to rank on search engine result pages. Domain authority ranges from a score of 1 to 100. The higher your score, the better your website should rank. And also, the higher the domain authority for a link to your site, the more favorable that link is in the eyes of search engines. Each domain linking to your site should have some sort of relevance to yours, either due to the purpose of the domain or the topic of the article. For example, if you run an ice cream shop, but all of your links are coming from, car forums and auto manufacturers, it could raise some suspicions that you're getting these links illegitimately, or that these links just don't provide any value to people who come across them. For a truly strong link, the anchor text needs to be relevant to the article that it's linking to and the article it's included. The diversity of the domains linking to yours. You want to make sure that is, you want to make sure that you've got, you're not getting a bunch of links from the same domain. You want a good mix of links from different domains. And then the anchor text links. So if you're writing about an article about roof repair and you're linking to your law firm's homepage, the anchor text repair a roof, so if that's the little section of that's linked, it might be relevant to your article, but it won't be relevant to the law firm. The anchor text contact an attorney might be more relevant to the homepage, but it won't be relevant to the article. And if you use the same anchor text over and over again, Google's algorithm will catch it, and you could end up with a penalty as a result. So you don't want to have too many instances of the same anchor text. So having click here as your go-to link, you really should mix that up, and you really should not use that with any sort of regularity. All right, so let's go to, Holly, I'm going to skip poll question number 2, and let's do poll question number 3, because we're getting ready to go into this next section. And I'd like to know, does your business actively ask every customer for a review after the sale? Because as we're getting ready to talk about, reviews are, while local search is what I do, is what I focus on primarily here at SEO Rocket, over the last couple of years, reviews and reputation management, that has kind of become my passion, so to say. I really am big on reviews and asking for reviews, getting reviews. And so, yes, we're talking about reviews. In my opinion, business reviews is one of the most important aspects in local search. Word of mouth has always been important, but now word of mouth is digital. You can use these reviews, customers use these reviews to say, yeah, I would highly recommend you go to this place, or stay away from that place. They are super important, and most business owners would probably agree that reviews are really important to them and to the success of their business. But on the flip side, many owners aren't proactive about getting reviews. And so, that could be from a few different reasons. Maybe they don't know the best way to get them. Or, they feel like they just don't have the time to manage the process. I don't want to, I hear it from people all the time, is that, I just don't have the time. I don't want to spend, an hour each day looking at reviews and sending these out to my customers, or, having to, manage this whole process. And so they just don't do it. Or maybe they don't want to deal with negative reviews. And, negative reviews are, they happen. But the best businesses learn from those negative reviews, because a negative review can help clue you in on something that's part of your either process or maybe something with your staff that, needs to be addressed. And so ignoring negative reviews is not the way to go. So a little checklist about reviews. Is your business actively asking for and getting reviews? If you're not getting reviews on a regular, consistent basis, that would be my first question to you is, are you actively asking? Do you have a method in place? And if it's not part of a business's internal process, for me, that's a huge red flag. Like I said, I'm very passionate about reviews and the power that reviews have. People put the same trust in online reviews as they do as if their friend personally recommended that they go to this business. Are they only on third-party sites, or do they have them, do you have reviews posted on your website? And the big thing with these is that they got to be properly marked up. Having just text under a heading that says testimonials or reviews, Google doesn't see those as reviews. Google sees that as text, no different as any other text. And if a business doesn't have properly marked up reviews on its website, that's a missed opportunity. Actually, it's a couple of opportunities, because not only does having properly marked up reviews on your site show trust and authority, both to search engines and searchers, but it's also another place on your website where you're getting fresh new content on a regular basis. And like we talked about before, fresh content, super beneficial for local search. Reviews can be a business's greatest tool if you commit to the process. And that includes responding to reviews, both the positive and the negative ones. My personal feeling is that a business should respond to every review that it gets, positive and negative. It shows that management cares about the reviews, that management cares about the customers. And it shows customers that, especially with negative reviews, that their concerns are being heard. And it also provides a human aspect. You're more than just a coffee shop or a hardware store or an insurance agency. There's a human being behind the screen who cares about the business and cares about the customers. Reviews can let a business know what they're doing right, but also, and probably more importantly, it also lets them know where they may have issues that need to be addressed. And we do have a tool with SEO Rocket called Rocket Reviews. It's easy to use and allows business to take control of the review process in as little as 30 minutes a week. You can automatically send requests to your customers, and you can respond to reviews. It monitors third-party sites for new reviews. So if somebody goes and leaves a recommendation on Facebook or on Google or on other sites, it will notify you when you get one. It also allows you to have customers text a keyword to a number, and they're able to get a link where they can leave a review on their phone. So if you're interested in that, if you do not do reviews and you're thinking maybe you should, or maybe you do, but you want to be more active in asking for reviews, Rocket Reviews is a great tool that will help you do that. So with all 5 of these things,
Zane, before we move on, I've got a question in the chat about reviews. Should reviews and testimonials always include pictures, video, audio, and how long should they be?
You're talking about if a customer leaves reviews? I mean, especially if you are if you're a restaurant, if you're a bakery, if you're something where the picture of the product or a picture of, if it was a bad experience, if you went to a restaurant and you opened up your to-go container and found chewed gum in your food or something like that, absolutely, pictures are helpful because it helps provide that information to other potential customers. What happened, why you're upset, or if you got these awesome looking cupcakes, then the pictures show other people, wow, okay, those cupcakes look great. Maybe I should go there and get some cupcakes. So I would say pictures absolutely are helpful in those reviews. And as far as length, there's no really set length that a review should be. Just if you're leaving reviews, just be honest, be clear, explain the situation, what happened if it's a bad situation, and if you're leaving a good review, don't just leave 5 stars. Go into detail and explain, what did this business do, or what did somebody at this business do that made you feel like it was such a great experience. And if you do that, rather than thinking about, how long should it be, those kind of things, if it's just organic like that, then that's what great reviews, both negative and positive, are made up of. So I hope that answered the question.
All right. Mark, let us know if you've got any other questions on that. One more question. Can you expand upon what a properly marked up review is?
Sure. So a properly marked up review is, like I said, you can't just have a page with a heading that says testimonials and have, a block of text with somebody's name and their location, and then another block of text. And because as far as the search engines are concerned, those are that's text. That's no different than any other text on your website. So what you can do is, there's schema for reviews, and it requires certain things. So like a rating, it requires, it's a little bit of a snippet of code that tells the search engines, this is a review. And our Rocket Reviews product, it automatically does that for you. So when the reviews show up on your page, they're marked up, Google sees it, knows it's a review. And the easiest way that you can check and see whether the reviews on your website are properly marked up is you can go to the Google Rich Content, and I will try and find the link, and I'll put it in the chat, but it's the Rich Text Tester with Google, and you can put your reviews URL page in there, and it will let you know whether it is marked up or not. So if you give me just a second, I will pull that up and throw it in the chat so that
Great. Thank you guys for your questions. If anybody has any more questions, be sure to type them into the chat or the Q&A panel. We'll be happy to get them answered for you.
Yep. And so while I'm getting that link to put in, the big thing I just wanted everyone to remember and to take away from this is that consistency is key. Consistent NAP information, consistent content additions to your website, consistent updating of your Google My Business information, consistently asking for reviews. Doing those things on a consistent basis, over time, you will see results. let's see, where can we use the chat? Get the link in there. So hopefully everybody can see that. So that is the structured data testing tool. And then I'm going to put one more in there. This one is the rich results test. So you can put your URL in there and Google will let you know whether it is marked up, not only for reviews, but for lots of other, there's so much schema, which are the little snippets of code that you could put in on your web pages that tells search engines, you know, if you're a local business, if these are reviews about your products, if you're selling things on your website, all kinds of information that Google can look at that and let you know what it is and what's properly marked up and what's not properly marked up. So I know we've answered a couple of questions already. Holly, do we have any more questions?
See, I don't see any typed into the chat at this time. So if you guys have questions, now is a great time to be sure that we get them answered for you. We'll give
Holly,
you guys...
if it's all right for you, there's one that I know we get from time to time. And so I wanted to go ahead and address it while maybe people are thinking about other questions is, what's the difference between SEM and SEO? And so what the main difference is that SEM is a paid strategy. SEO is an organic strategy. There's two major categories within search marketing. SEM uses paid strategy to appear in search, and SEO, SEM stands for search engine marketing. SEO is search engine optimization, and that uses organic strategies to appear in search. So that's the main difference between the two. Some people will, interchange the two, when talking about one or the other. They both involve strategy, data-driven decisions, ongoing management. But the big difference is SEM refers to paid strategy. So that's, paying for ads in Google ads or Bing ads, or even on other sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, those kinds of things. That's all considered SEM. What we've talked about today is SEO, and in specific, local SEO.
All right, another thing I want to share in the chat is a link to from SEO Rocket from their Google My Business checklist that for you guys to take a look at. So we'll send that out to you guys.
Yeah, the checklist it covers a lot. It's just a 2-page PDF that really you can use that to go through your listing and see, have I done this? Have I done that? A lot of the things that we talked about today in relation to Google My Business. So the NAP information, categories, photos, reviews, all of those things are covered in that checklist. And it's a really great tool that can help you go through your listing and see what if there are things that need to be addressed, or if you've got, everything under control. And if you haven't claimed your Google My Business listing yet, or if you know somebody who owns a business and maybe they haven't, as soon as we're done, go claim your business, because by claiming and verifying your Google My Business listing, you have control over what appears and how you can promote your business using Google My Business.
We've got a question. If my Google business listing is claimed, but I don't have access to it, how do I regain that access? Okay,
that's a great question. And this happens probably, more often than one might think, because sometimes, an employee will claim the listing under their work email or maybe their personal email, and then they leave the company. And so this is an issue that comes up often. What you can do, there's a couple of different ways that you can go about it, but the main thing that you have to do is you have to you go to the listing. Like if you do a search on Google for the company, and there's a link that will say claim this listing, and you can click it and it'll tell you that it's already claimed by somebody, and it'll give you part of the email address, which might be enough of a trigger to tell you, oh yeah, we did it under that email and I need to log in and find the password for that. Or it could be enough of a clue to say, I don't recognize that email, or that's a former employee. But it'll tell you that it's already claimed, and then you can go through their process of getting it transferred. They'll send a message to the other email address saying that you have requested transfer of ownership, and I think they wait 7 days. And then if that doesn't happen, then they usually can go in and transfer it to you. So it's a process that takes a couple of weeks, but you can get it done. If you use Twitter, that's another quick way to get in front of somebody at Google My Business. You can send a DM to Google My Business on Twitter and let them know your situation, and they can help you that way also.
Is the Google My Business listing a one and done thing, or does it have to be updated, and how frequently?
It absolutely should be updated often. And now you may not be updating the same thing every time, but you really should be updating it on a regular basis, especially as it relates to, if you have products, if you have photos, you should at least be logging in and checking it, once a week, just depending on your business, just to make sure that, if you've got new photos of products, or, if maybe you were at an event, and I know those have kind of been reduced over the last year because of COVID, but if there's any kind of publicity photos, if you've got new vehicles with your branding, you can post photos of those on your Google My Business listing. But I would say at least once a week, just log in, check and make sure your information's right. If, like we talked about before, if your business has multiple categories, so say, again, you do heating and air, you do plumbing, we're in the middle of February now. So pretty soon we're going to be not worried so much about heat, but about air conditioning. And so, maybe end of March, you switch your primary category from, heating repair to air conditioning repair. And then, come end of October, sometime in November, log in, change the primary one back to heating repair. Making sure your phone number's right, because when somebody does a search for your business on Google and that knowledge panel shows up, there's a link that they can click that says suggest and edit. So, somebody can go in and put, a different phone number, put that your hours are different. There's a Q&A section in there. People can ask questions there. And so if somebody posts a question in there, you'll get notified of it by email, and then you can go into your Google My Business listing, answer that question correctly before somebody else comes in, and because Google with their Q&A feature allows the public to ask and answer questions. So somebody could ask, hey, does this restaurant do contactless delivery? And somebody might say no, they don't, when actually you do. And then so you need to go in and make sure that you've got the correct answer in there. Same goes for reviews. You log into Google My Business and respond to reviews that you get from customers. Again, you'll get notified by email. So you go in and you're able to respond to that review, and it will show up under your reviews. You'll have the text of the review, and then it will say response from the owner, and it'll have your comments below that. But in general, I would say at least once a week, and as the situation dictates. If you've got photos of events, new products, your products being used, and you may need to do that 3 times in a week, that's totally fine. There's no real set amount of time that you should log in and make changes or whatever, but it is definitely not a one and done type thing.
All right, I've got, is blogging important for SEO, and is it necessary?
Yes, blogging is important for SEO because that is one of those ways to have fresh content appearing on your site on a regular basis. Is it necessary? I'm not going to say yes, that it's an absolute necessity, but I think if you have got the means and the time, you absolutely should do it. And you can always start off small. You don't have to try to post, 3 blog posts a week, because if you try to attack it from that approach, you'll realize you're too busy. You can't do 3 a week, and then you can only do 1, and then you end up doing none. You just write it off. So you can always start off small, 1 post a week or 1 post a month, make it part of your internal process of, okay, this month I need to write about this, or create a calendar, a content calendar. You come up with topics for the rest of the year. And then this month we're going to have a post about subject X. Next month will be a post about subject Y. And once you have that part of your process, then you can say, okay, now that we've kind of got this down, we can shoot for 2 a month. And 1 will be like the topics we discussed. The second one may be something maybe more lighthearted, or something more about the staff or about the company, rather than about, what we do or our areas of expertise. But it does help with SEO because, again, that provides fresh new content. You're more likely to show up in the organic search results. Your blog posts are by, well-written pieces are more likely to show up in those search results pages. So again, I won't say that it's an absolute, but I would definitely recommend it.
All right, I know we're getting a little past time here, but I've got one more question.
Okay.
What is more important, a great website and mediocre SEO marketing, or a mediocre website and an outstanding SEO program?
So when it comes to SEO, Google doesn't care what your site looks like. You could have a site that looks like it was built in 1999. But if you have solid SEO strategy, you've got great content, you've got a great linking strategy, both internal and external, if you are asking for and getting reviews, and you've got those reviews marked up on your website, if you've got good content on your location pages, you've got good calls to action as far as like a form on your website. Like I said, it can look like it came from the 90s, but you could be more successful. Google doesn't care what your site looks like. I mean, ideally you would want both. You would want a great looking website and a great SEO strategy. I would always put SEO strategy ahead of aesthetics, but not by much, because while your website is, search engines crawl your website and get all of that information, your website is for your customers and potential customers. And, it's kind of like food. They eat with their eyes. The look of the website is that first impression. And if somebody sees a website that looks like it's from the 90s, they may immediately, in their search results, they may hit back, go back to the list and pick another website and look at that one, and then choose that business to work with rather than yours. So ideally you would want both, but I would take a great SEO strategy and a successful SEO plan with a mediocre looking website versus mediocre SEO with a fantastic looking website.
All right, Zane, thank you so much. I don't see any other questions at this time. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for asking such great questions.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I really enjoyed this, and I hope everybody else did too.
All right, so be sure to visit our website at mygma.org for more information on all of our upcoming programs, and we will see you at the next one. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day.